Okay, so we're calling the meeting to order. Sorry, it's 6:09. We have a very short agenda tonight. It's just to look at these cards, which we've done. We're looking at them now. 35 gallon, 64 gallon, and what's that, 96, is it? Okay, yeah, 96. And to make a determination of which sizes we would recommend to the select board. And in addition, one for trash, one for recycling. In addition, why, I think we should have a why on that, on each recommendation, one for trash, one for recycling, and why. And the second is if we care to make a vote to recommend to the select board that if we are able to purchase the cards, so we work that out, so that could be worked out, would we recommend for them to open the current contract to try to negotiate an automated pickup in it? It's just us recommending, we don't get involved in the nitty gritty of it. Just, it's the recommendation, so it's twofold. One is, what size cart would we recommend, irregardless of whether we reopen this contract or not? For whatever reason, if we go to the carts, what would you recommend for a size for trash and for recycling? And each time a why. Why are we recommending that? Okay, we know from our, now I can't remember his name, but the guy from who's our current support person from
Brian,
Brian, right? That he has consistently pushed out the idea of a 32 or 35, now that I look at it, it must be 35 gallon cart, saying that we get more of those points, which I guess makes us more eligible for grants here and there along the line. We currently allow residents up to 2 32 gallon carts.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
And unlimited recycling.
Unlimited recycling, yes. Yes.
So in preparation of the meeting this evening, working with Arthur, he put together a presentation that kind of outlined some of the
Sure.
potential options. It's very short. It's only 3 slides.
That's correct.
But we would like to see if the committee would entertain viewing that slideshow
Of
so that
course.
you can
Yeah.
see what.
This is all- we're staring at the carts right now. We're waiting for
I'm gonna have
for inspiration.
Arthur take it away,
Yeah, so you want to put on the full screen or?
trying to get this thing to go away. Here we go.
Okay, so
Oh, sorry, I went too fast.
all
Trigger happy.
right, so I went through, I think with Bill, he want to talk about developing the sort of matrix. Is that what you were talking about? Yeah, so that's what I kind of went through. So obviously this is just our options. So the first slide is going to tell you exactly what you see here. And the cost that Cascade is giving to us. So you can kind of see the difference in the cost. It's not much. So 35 gallon is $43.37 each. 64 gallon is $48.37 each. And a 96 is $54.54 each. All of them, you also have to add an additional 5 gallon 25 to each for assembly and delivery on all the sizes. It's the same price for everyone. Now that's going to be multiplied over our estimate, which is 2,221 households. So this kind of gives you a relative price and size, which is not a big difference. So you can go to the next slide.
Now, the households, that includes multifamilies.
I believe so, yes.
Think so. Just wouldn't include like Nicholas Village.
All right, yeah.
They have their own.
Okay, oh,
Right.
right.
I want to make sure that two family isn't considered one household.
I don't think so.
So, all right, so this slide I think is key here in the whole thing, and I put this together, so it's the visual instead of like just words. The current right now is 2 32 gallons trash or equivalent, so you can have 164. That's how it's kind of written out. The recycling is unlimited, but what you do get is an 18 gallon
Oh,
the tote container, which is kind of what you probably would fill up if you had, even though if you do drive around, people pile it on. Pile it out there and they do take it. I guess there's not been a lot of enforcement on. taking-
Zero.
Yes, which is good for recycling, I guess, but not for trash. And then we get the overflow trash bag situation. So it's our version of the pay as you throw kind of, and I guess from speaking with Rebecca, people don't buy them. It's not a very successful program.
Because there's no enforcement.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have been unable to enforce the 2 barrel.
But it's what we,
I actually do buy them.
okay,
Some people do
I
buy them, but
use
it's
them when I
not.
need them,
yeah,
Right.
but it's not often.
but that's
It's in
the.
place.
Yeah,
It is in place, which is.
yeah, so that's so maybe the other options won't be so alien to what we're out currently doing. So that obviously that'll be zero cost for the carts. So the first option is option number one, which is a 35-gallon that you see here. That's gonna be for trash. A recycling would be a 64-gallon. And then you have a pay as you throw. Now, when you do the pay as you throw, DEP has a lot of conditions for us to get this money, but eventually they give you, it's like $30 off the one container. It results in $66,000, $637 off. If you did multiply that price out, normally it was $227,674.71. But we do get that discount with the DEP grant. Again, that's if we get the grant, and they do have a lot of stipulations that we'd have to follow. We have to pass certain bylaws. So it's not necessarily for nothing. They do make us do some conditions. Second is a 64-gallon trash and a 64-gallon recycling. And then what you do is if you have somebody that might think 64 is too big and they can't carry it out to the roadway, you offer a 35-gallon cart for elderly and disabled people as an option. And I don't think it'd be extra cost to anybody. We would just have a certain amount set up for people that request it.
Yeah.
The third one, which is it's common too, but it's just another option where it's, a 64-gallon trash, a 96-gallon recycling. And then that would be contingent on a bi-weekly pickup. And that's another option. So, and if you can see the pricing without the discount, for even from the number 1 to the number 3, if you didn't get the Mass EP grant, it's $20,000. It's not a big jump. I mean, if you don't get a DP grant and even from 1 to 2, it's not that big of a difference, because they don't price them out, there's a lot of difference between the 20, the 35 and the 64 and the 96. So those are the prices in the green, how much it would cost the town. And it's, I kind of put something in perspective and you guys could kind of use this, as a frame of reference. These are the options that I came up with, we
Right.
spoke with. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's any other.
No, I like what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good visual.
Yeah,
I guess what I keep going back to in my head is, are we trying to just go to automated pickup and just perpetuate what we're doing now as far as the amount of trash that people are throwing out? Or are we trying to encourage and divert more into the recycling container? Because if we are visually, I think number 1 says it all. With the one suggestion that I would make is that similar to, I might have read it in Boxford, I'm not sure where else, when I went through a lot of the contracts, there was an option, if you feel, you're running a home daycare, you have a lot of kids, or you just feel like you can't manage the 35-gallon and you don't want to be doing the overflow bags every week, we could offer a lease of an additional 35-gallon until they don't want it anymore. I wouldn't give it to them because I think the idea is if we're actually trying to say, I don't want to pay for your electric bill, you don't want to pay for my electric bill. I don't want to pay for your trash bill. You shouldn't have to pay for my trash bill. The one cost that we got that's universal is the pickup costs. That's where the automated pickup would handle that for us. And then that, somebody having 2 carts versus 1, I don't consider that a big deal on the automated pickup.
That would affect the cost, right? If we had people with extra containers, would that affect,
So if there was a second cart, it would impact the price. It would be an additional $10 per month.
$10, okay, whatever. We
so it
can-
would, they wouldn't
Per
pick
household.
up everything. They would-
Well, that's one person, that's one company's idea, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, certainly we can look around, but I mean, the point is that just like with the cable bill, if I want to have a lot of channels, I can have them. I don't have to
Exactly.
live with
Yep.
the 5 channels that my neighbor wants to only pay for. I can get as many channels as I want. You know, so if you want to throw out, 64 gallons of trash, or you want to be able to put them all in carts without buying overflow bags.
My question
Yeah.
though, and I'm just unclear. So if you go to the automated pickup, okay, from what I've read, you can't have, the lids have to be down.
Close.
Correct.
Right. So if you also have pay as you, like number one, pay as you throw your overflow bag, where does that go?
The guy had to come out of the truck.
Okay, so is he would they charge us?
Yes, they're going to charge us for those.
Okay, so I just want to make sure we're all clear about that, and we're thinking that the cost for that charge would come out of the bag cost?
Presumably, yeah.
And we have no idea what that charge would be or how they,
Rebecca got a ballpark on it, right?
So one of the options is an overflow bag collection fee per bag is $1.50.
right, but I'm saying how much I wonder how much it costs the company, would cost us every time they picked one of those up.
$1.50.
$1.50.
And we sell them for right now $2.50.
Oh, okay, so not the cost of the bag is
But
$1.50.
we don't make 250.
No, we don't make $2.50.
So what do we make on the
So
250?
you would need to increase the price of the bags
By how much?
to offset the cost
Right.
of.
At least,
bag.
At least $1.50.
So each bag would then cost $4.
Maybe, yeah.
For the over,
Maybe $4.50 to $1.50 and $2.50 is
Yeah.
$4.
for the
Pretty good
overflow.
at this stuff.
But you don't have to buy a bag to put in the 35 gallons
Right.
is gratis or whatever.
Depending on how you
Just the-
structure your pay as you throw program.
But I mean, in this scenario here, that's what I'm just trying to make
Scenario
sure that
one.
we're all kind of clear, that the pay as you throw bag is not going into the.
no, it's on top.
It sits on,
I just want to make sure.
oh, yes,
You know what I
You're
mean?
talking about, well, pay as you throw is different from overflow,
yeah.
right?
Well, no,
No, this is what I'm trying to get.
Right.
Exactly.
It should be overflow on the on the first.
no,
floor.
No,
that's
No,
actually-
it's pay as you
Oh, okay.
throw.
Oh, that means those are bags going in the cart, but we
No,
still
no,
have.
no, no.
Overflow bags are pay as you throw bags.
Yeah,
They are.
they are, but they're just not, the pay as you throw is a program by
Not
the
a-
DEP.
Okay,
It's not a full pay as you throw
Right.
program.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything you put in the
Right.
cart would, if it was a full pay as you
Yeah.
throw program, everything you put in
I
your
just-
cart would have to be in a pay as you throw bag.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Just want to make sure we're all clear on that because.
right.
It's a pretty good size.
So, so that's why it's separate, because you fill the 35 and then anything more would be a pay as you throw.
Every guys.
I could fit Rebecca in there.
When you say everything
small one, yeah.
more, you mean no overflow.
So, yeah, so you fill, so you were at your home and you filled up a 35 gallon, your next option is to get a pay as you throw bag and put it on top of your can, so on top of your receptacle, so that when they come in and pick it up.
Okay,
they
but
take
in
it.
number 1, we're also doing pay as you throw, right?
That is pay as you throw, yeah.
Overflow
No.
bag, so
Oh.
you're taking pay as you throw as full pay as you throw.
Correct.
Pay as you throw can be set up any way you want, which can include the overflow bags. Pay as you throw includes overflow.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm asking to just to be, and I think
Okay.
maybe Jan, I thought Jan had it nailed down, and now I'm wondering if I understand it. Inside the 35 gallon trash can,
Yeah,
are there pay as you throw bags under option 1?
No,
No,
no, because that's a,
That's-
that's a full
Full
pay as you throw program.
right.
that's,
The
now
full
that,
program requires all trash to be placed in a pay as you throw bag.
yes.
So
So
they
that,
put in
It's additional service.
this is
pay as you
just a
So when
modified.
when you show the pay as you throw
It's
on the side, it's equivalent of the overflow up
It's
above.
additional service to those receptacles being picked up. And then you have the pay as you throw as a supplementary trash service.
So the pay-as-you-throw bags
I'm
are
just-
supposed to be offsetting.
The trash that you're not gonna be able to fit in your 35 gallon.
No, that's overflow.
See, that's, I'd like to keep with overflow for outside.
Yes.
No, no,
Overflow is the
he's saying
extra
we
bag.
We can call it overflow,
But we
but
can't call
DEP calls it
pay as-
pay as you throw.
Why you get a grant for it? Yeah.
Yes.
You put overflow in parentheses. No.
We can call it we can call it overflow in this room, but to get the grant, DEP is gonna call it pay as you throw.
Right,
So DP saying, this is what DP saying, when we're saying, we're gonna give you money to buy a 35 gallon
Yes,
cart.
that's what he was telling me.
And then the only way we're gonna do that is if you also, because it's so small, we also want you to have the pay as you throw as a program set up.
Yes.
So offset that and we'll give you
Some
money for that.
shape or form of pay as
Yeah.
you throw. It doesn't have to be the full pay as you throw,
right.
but it has to have some
Yeah.
component
Okay,
of pay
okay,
as
I
you throw,
got you.
which would be the overflow in this
If you went
instance.
to a cart that size, you'd have to have a way for people to be able to get rid of more trash on
Or
certain
more ways
occasions. Yeah.
to divert.
Exactly.
Which would be the
Exactly.
larger recycling totes or, other options to get rid of other things, composting and things like that.
Yeah.
What, was it I think it's Hamilton that does mandatory composting now
Yeah.
too.
Right,
Try to
Curbside
divert.
pickup.
they have a 35 gallon cart
So I just have a quick question.
and two
Yeah.
bulky
So
items.
it costs, the additional cost, for the contractor to pick up a
Yeah.
bag is how much?
$1.50.
$1.50.
Uh,
And,
Second card is 10.
and second card is 10. And because we have such excellent enforcement now on the 2 barrel limit,
No, yeah.
who's going to watch the hen house to make sure that company A is charging us correctly for the number of extra bags they pick up or extra totes they pick up?
That's,
And they're not just
Well, they're not gonna pick.
slapping the pig and saying, hey, we had,
Cards.
You're not really gonna know unless you took an inventory of how many bags you sell and how many bags.
And they are moving
well,
towards
how many
the
bags you
cameras.
sell
exactly.
doesn't indicate how many
Doesn't.
bags used.
That doesn't.
They are moving towards the cameras and the AI and the
But-
recognition. So they are trying to, they have not put them on the trucks yet, but they are supposedly moving in that direction.
Which I
I
assume
just-
would be part of the negotiation if we go this route.
Well, could I just say that the woman, and again, I'm gonna blank on the name, but the woman who presented to us and is currently
Amber.
running our, it's not Amber.
Taylor.
The other one.
Taylor, you got it. Taylor, good name. Said to us in the first presentation of these overflow bags that we currently sell, that's all being managed. The town doesn't have to do anything about that. And she also offered, I believe, that if we go to this and we wanted cameras on the trucks, they would take care of that for
Mhm.
us.
That's what they
That
did.
was what I thought she
I
said.
think that's just, what, from my, our conversation we had with Waste Management, it's just, that's the way they're moving anyways,
The
that direction.
technology is going.
Anyway, so that, they don't want guys to come out of the truck unless they have to, because they don't want workman's comp and all this type of stuff, so.
So that's why there's the additional charges for any single time they have to get out of the truck.
Yeah.
So
Get it?
unit-based pricing is what this is called.
Yep, you pay for what you throw out.
Yes.
We all
um,
share the curbside.
Almost
pickup.
all unit-based pricing programs in Massachusetts are volume-based, meaning residents are charged according to volume, not weight of what they throw away.
Hmm.
Most programs require residents to purchase special bags, stickers, wheel carts, or trash barrels for their waste.
Yeah, so now, and not only in Boxford, what they did is they have every resident, if you want trash pickup at your house, you have to pay $175 a year. And with that purchase, they give you a 64 gallon trash and a 96 gallon recycling. And if you don't pay that every year, then I'll stop picking up your trash. That's just their model. I don't know how well it works. I think it's only been a couple of years, but that would be a different way of doing it where they're paying as,
Right.
as, in
It's a
the,
flat annual fee.
Flat annual
They probably
fee.
charge it in their
Are they
taxes. and-
picking up recycling or do they have to take their recycling?
oh, they think they pick everything up.
Sure.
Yeah, 'cause I've seen, I drove through there today and that's.
Okay.
I
So,
think Danvers recently went the same way with the flat
Yeah.
trash fee and provided that.
which, I mean, I guess that brings in a lot more income to the town, but I don't, I'm sure that's.
I mean, I don't know, it's like an offset, not an income, right? So it's supposed to be offsetting the chance that we will have to go for an override.
Well, it's not all, it's, if you're assuming that all towns like us just comes out of the tax base, right? And then you take that out of the tax space and then you make it a fee, and that, all that other money is gonna go somewhere else, and then this, your trash is now gonna be paid for separately, so it is adding extra, town.
Right,
Well,
money.
it's offsetting
we're not gonna
the
charge,
trash costs.
right, but we're not charging twice because we're going
Correct.
to, right now, our curbside pickup, when we began the contract, 389,000. If we go to the completion of this contract, curbside pickup alone, $606,000. That's where it's all going.
Mhm.
It's skyrocketing.
Mhm.
So when people say, well, we haven't had to have an override for trash since this year. Okay, but understand the additional over 2.5% increase for your curbside pickup when it's not automated is coming from other departments. Okay, that's where it's not, we don't have the money in the 2.5% increase. We don't have the money in the new growth. So if we continue
Getting the-
without automated pickup, we are going to have to cut departments.
I think it's just gonna be complicated in terms of the process. The private hauler regulations would have to be adopted by the Board of Health. We'd have to implement.
I do have a list of those, if you wanna,
Yeah, is that on the next slide?
Yeah, well, next-
Great.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, I mean, it's a lot, and I'm not,
Mhm.
I can't go through every one of them, but that's, the big one is that, get that legislation passed, you gotta make sure that they're 30% recycled content is what they're created out of, there's, you have to, they're gonna check, make sure our program is, being held up on a yearly basis. And,
Can we just look at the first paragraph? Because I want to make sure that we're allowed to ask for proposals separately for trash versus recycling. That we don't have to combine the same hauler on both if we don't want to.
Right, because was it also Hamilton that
this is for private
No.
haulers to their house.
West Newbury
This-
does,
If you pass this number one, it means that you cannot say, I don't want trash town pickup. I'm gonna call Mello. come to
Okay,
my
I got
house."
you.
That's
Okay,
what Ron and Brian were talking about at the last meeting, and that's why they sent over the additional regulations that we sent over to the Board of Health.
okay, yeah, so you can't privately contract them.
No.
You could decide not to put your trash out, but you're still paying for the hauling.
Yeah.
One way or the other, yeah. Okay, fine, I got that. So we can still separately ask we could have a separate hauler for recycling than trash if we choose to.
Yeah, I don't know. I have not looked in towns that do that.
West
Right,
Newbury does. They have
I know.
Casella for one and
I-
Mellow for the
I
other.
just wanted options, that's all, just options. I'm saying,
Some towns are so big to have
Pipe dream.
10
What?
haulers that go in.
What, the Board of Health regulations?
so this is just saying that like
Oh, wow.
in Georgetown, they're allowed to go get.
Get the money.
Yes, I have.
That would be the.
I'll tell you right now, I got that.
Can't do.
Can't do that no more.
I'm thinking,
Never, well, we actually don't have a
can keep
regulation.
it like
So
this.
people in our town could do that right now.
Do what?
They could get their own hauler right now if they want.
I'm surprised there isn't a regulation already.
So Georgetown, you can get your own.
It's really hard to keep track of what people are saying when multiple conversations are happening and I'm the secretary.
Generally speaking, I just don't think you.
Okay, wait. So
I'm lost.
are we clear on that first one, what that means? That's all I'm asking. I feel like
Yes,
you've explained it well.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
This would prevent people, once we adopt this in this town, you would not be allowed to go get your own hauler to come to your house.
Unless you're a business.
Okay, unless you're, how about a school or a business? School?
School, we don't run.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't run it. Okay, so we don't run. Schools and businesses, we don't run. And how about Nichols Village?
They
And
have
They
their
have
own
their own.
anyway.
everybody that's off on their own stays off on their own. This just pertains to all of us that are part of it.
It pertains to the households,
Okay,
I think.
We better make sure it doesn't include, other,
oh,
like, not only Nichols Village, what is it,
Whitestone.
Whitestone Road.
they do their own thing, I thought.
I know they do their own thing, but that first paragraph, does that compel them to join in with us?
We don't plow them, do we? We don't plow, do we plow them?
even if they did join in, it would compel their hauler to provide recycling services, which I think is the key issue, that they aren't adding trash to the waste stream, they're taking trash out of the waste stream,
Okay,
and that's the goal of the regulation, really.
okay. And you
I
can't,
think the last one is kind of, puts a little restrictions. It says municipality must operate the pay-as-you-go throw program for a minimum of 2 years for bag and tag programs and a minimum of 5 years for the cart programs, which is us.
yeah,
And then at DP's discretion, the minimum program duration might be longer depending on the size of the award. So you have to, if it failed miserably and you said we wanna, you're stuck with it for at least 5 years, so.
Or you need to probably potentially pay
Well,
back
that's the
money as
contract
your
we're on right
potential
now.
penalties.
we're stuck with this contract.
The moving goalpost part.
But let's be realistic. I think that if we were to get the grant, we're doing the pay as you throw now
All right,
already with the overflow bag. So the town's been doing that for how many years? It's a long time, right?
since Rebecca was on the planning board when we started it.
I've been holding on to my broken trash barrels for years, waiting for these.
Mhm.
I'm sure other people have too.
Jerry,
So-
my wheel on it, everything.
Yep. Wheels.
So,
Those are
I
gone.
mean, ideally, I think most people look at what's going on around us and say, when are we getting these carts? They may look at that 35-gallon cart and go, whoa, that's a little small than I anticipated, because that's what I said when I walked in.
Yeah.
Then they can lease a second.
They can, and that's fine. I think if I'm gonna make a recommendation, I would say go to the 96 gallons for the recycling, not the 64 for recycling.
If you're gonna do
It
bi-weekly.
was 64 and 96 or?
No, the 35 and the 96, because you can't get the grant for the 64, you know, to offset the cost.
You can for the 96?
No, for the 35 you can.
That's the
The
only.
35 is the key, but do we need 96?
If
It
96.
it encourages more recycling, so
And if,
it's
It also
huge. It is.
encourages wish cycling though too.
I know.
but if we could do
Sometimes they don't
Well,
pay.
every other week recycling because we have it.
That, and that's the other thing.
Cut costs.
Yeah,
I know, but
That's what they want you to do.
Do you want to go to every other week recycling right off the bat?
No, we wouldn't be opening the contract for that at this.
No,
point. That would be in the next.
That would be in the new one.
negotiation. It's just, you're probably thinking that we'd be better prepared if we went to it, if we had the 96. However, that's a big thing to store.
huge. That's the size of a refrigerator.
I have one at my house.
right where I
and
store my
it's-
barrel now.
You know what it is now, and you don't think about it, it's the Amazon people.
Yeah, but you know what we gotta do?
Boxes. Mine fills up every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And
I mean,
more.
I don't consume that much.
Well, you're talking about, I'm saying like, the way that the world
Most
is
people do
moving.
though.
Yeah.
You
The world
know,
is moving, there's a lot of boxes and that's
Cardboard.
cardboard. It's just, And that's-
visually, if
You
it was the
should show
darker
those two
color,
next to each
it
other.
would blend better.
the 96 and the
I'll
35.
be making a statement, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean, right now, it kind of stands out like a sore thumb because it's not.
come in hot standing next to Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, yeah, that's the other color.
It's gonna look on the street.
Well, except for the orange top is awful.
Yeah, I mean,
Just made denotes recycling. I don't mind it.
Well, that's not the color you choose. That's
Not that
a
much
different
more
conversation.
expensive than
no,
96 is done.
Huh. Will it look the same as the dark colored one though?
Yeah, they would pick the,
You can order whatever colors you want,
Don't
she
worry
said,
about
right?
colors.
What is
I-
he talking about colors on there that say?
Because when you drive through West Newbury, they both match, and I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you
Actually,
mentioned
if
it,
you go to,
it looks really nice.
can you go to the next slide?
Make sure the curtains match the carpets, don't worry.
So this is a picture of Boxford, the
Oh,
next
we have a
slide.
picture.
Yeah, well, actually, I'll color, but the one's dark and one's, I don't know why,
They're not dark, they're not matching.
they're formatted, the color of it. Actually, I have it on my phone. I think. But anyway, so I did go through and I did a little brief, synopsis of each town. Not that it's easy to do, because every town is like 10, they don't have information on their website, you have to look at their contract, so. I put together what kind of relevant stuff, like West Newbury is kind of a 65 and a 65. Boxford is that,
Well,
so this is what Boxford looks like. It's that blue and black.
yeah, but.
Yeah.
I like,
That's
the-
that 96, that's a
Yeah.
big one, and that's 64.
I
so
like
it's
the
big.
matching.
Yeah,
I know, but if they match, then,
No, you gotta have one, you do one, maybe one dark green, one black.
yes, because you have to differentiate recycling from trash.
That's
Look at the size of it. Why wouldn't you be able to tell the difference?
That's if we go with the 96.
Even if you went with the 64, it's.
About colors.
I know.
I like the colors.
You're gonna be all banged up.
But the other thing too, when you start looking at all these other towns,
Dirt.
Boxford is automated.
Mhm.
I think West Newbury
Tufts-
is- West,
West Newbury
It's automated.
Yeah.
Georgetown, no. Merrimack, I don't think so.
Sure, Georgetown's not, they have, I mean, they use the toes.
No,
Yeah. Georgetown have any
do whatever you
pickup?
want. You get your own hauler.
Pay, you can pay for pickup, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can. You can contract your own hauler.
They should automatically have mellow when they have a mellow.
You have to pay per bag when you bring it there.
Yeah, but I thought you could pay melt, I thought.
Yeah, Mellow
melt-
can in-house.
But you will have
An
to,
agreement,
choose-
yeah.
you push the button, it's each family, each household
Yeah,
can do what
yeah,
they
yeah.
want.
Right,
So that's not automated pickup.
Well,
For
technically,
town
well, I thought
wide.
the truck, when I say automated. I
it's
thought the truck
automated,
was
yeah,
automated.
yeah.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is when you try to compare what we're thinking
Right.
about, well, I think our first step is, do we want to go to the automated
Yes.
program?
All in favor?
Townwide? Is that the consensus?
So do we have the?
I thought we
actual
checked that box last week.
yeah, you don't have to,
Yes.
it has to go.
So now we're on to the decision of the automated pickup and the size. So keep in mind that whatever decision we make, you're gonna live with for 5 years, just like we're living with this awful contract for 5 years.
Or
Okay,
maybe
so-
extended, the duration may be extended
I'm not worried about that business. I'm saying, think of it like these,
ever.
you know,
Let's say
this,
if they think about it.
Yeah,
to kind of put things in perspective. Whatever this group recommends is going to be a huge step ahead of anything that's ever been done in the town before. If you look at our past history of just throwing it on the desk of like a finance director, say, go get a contract. The company went belly up in one case in the middle of the contract year. Then I think that's when Waste Management came in. We've been all over the place on this, never once saying, okay, what do we want to live with for 5 years? It's always been here and now, I want my trash picked up now. So now we're saying, okay, it's gonna get picked up. How do we want to set up this program for 5 years? That's what we're doing. We're gonna make a recommendation.
I mean, if the goal is to divert trash, then I guess I care less about the size of the recycling barrel than I do about the size of the trash barrel, because we need to start diverting.
I agree with that statement. I care less about the size of the recycling, more about the size of the trash. Because whatever we pick for that trash container, we're living with for 5 years. And we're trying to say, I will pay for my units of trash, you will pay for your units of trash. And as we've seen in the past, the more wiggle room we allow in that, the less it really is you just paying for your own trash. Do you understand what I'm saying? When we provide the larger trash container, we're giving that trash away.
so you guys.
So
are
you are
saying-
like, I only fill that 64 gallon halfway. Yeah.
So you're saying 35-gallon trash. barrel?
Yes.
Yeah, I am, because we have to live with it 5 years.
Yes, and 5 years from now, I want to be able to say that
You're only filling it halfway.
we're decreasing
Yeah.
the trash that we're putting into the landfill. And
Amen.
if you do 64, then everybody's gonna fill up to 64.
Right.
1 35-gallon.
If you feel claustrophobic with the 35 gallon, then lease another one,
Lease it.
And so we're
Exactly.
gonna give residents that option.
Yes,
only if they ask for it.
yes,
There's still the overflow bag
Right,
option. too.
right.
right.
The only thing that, I totally agree with that. You know, the only thing that bothers me is that, you know, a larger family. And people are busy and, you know, it's just, it is gonna be more of a burden on people.
I think
To have,
the
to
one,
have the tiny one.
the one thing where you look at it,
Hey,
and I'm very objective with
not.
this, because I don't live in town, so I just want to give you how it matters. If you think about what comes out of people's homes as a finite amount. Because when people are not actively reduced going shopping and saying, I'm not buying that because there's way too much packaging on it. People buy what they buy.
Exactly.
People buy what they buy. So what you But if you introduce something smaller, you will have to. People will have to either change their behavior of buying things differently, or they're gonna complain,
Or they're gonna lease a cart. They're gonna say,
or at least a.
you know what?
But I think
I don't care. I'm gonna lease
The
a cart.
the committee should be cognizant of that. Any way we can work together to help people in this transition is important.
Yes.
Just because we have a lot of different households, a lot of different issues that people are facing, a lot of different lifestyles. And, you know, like having the textile recycling is really important. Anything that we can add to that toolkit for
Yeah.
people. So that it will be easier for them. I just know people are struggling coping with life as it is, you know what I mean?
Well, I know
So-
too, like, if I may say, like, as a family myself, I know there's people that are more mindful of things, but like you just said, that life changes and things happen and the community that I live in, we have 2 64s. And so, yes, there's times where we fill the 64, but there's other weeks where we don't. But we have that option and have that flexibility without having to go lease and then think about how much money it costs to buy the cotton swabs that are compostable and all this other types of things. Like, there's different things. It's very, very hard to reduce waste sometimes, like you said, from a convenience factor. It should be done and we should be promoting it, but to your point, it is more expensive, more timely, and extremely difficult to do. And sometimes if you make people do that, they're probably not going to throw things away appropriately. So you're not really diverting the waste.
Well, they've done this, the studies that I've read have said that the excessive dumping or increases in dumping have not resulted from the pay-as-you-throw programs being
That
implemented.
could be the fact, but I didn't say
Okay.
pay as you go. I just said the cart size.
Right,
Right, so it's,
but this is part of the pay-as-you-throw. I think that,
the difficult thing about the smaller card is cutting stuff up to fit, you know what I mean? That I do see is.
Yeah.
what are you
What are you
cutting
cutting up to put in a small
in the
cart?
trash can?
Don't you ever have stuff that, you like you clean out your attic and there's stuff there that
Yeah.
it's not gonna fit as easily
Oh, no, we
as
just,
that as that.
Yeah.
just rented a
That's all,
dumpster.
that's all.
Don't we clean out the
I'll
attic?
tell
It's
you,
a
with
dumpster
the cardboard
rental.
boxes at my house, because I have the 96 gallon. No, so I'm not saying get the 96 gallon, like I said, but I'm saying I don't have to break them up so much. I just throw them in there.
Right,
It's just like,
But doesn't the hauler tell us that the cardboard can't be over certain sizes?
it fits in there, they take.
no, as long as it fits, but what I'm
No,
saying is.
no, they gave us
But if you have
dimensions.
a
I'm
trash
not,
barrel right now that doesn't have a lid on it, stuff can be sticking out the top,
right,
right?
okay, but
Now it can be. With these, we just have to remember, nothing can be sticking up.
I
Everything
understand.
has to fit.
Right.
in that lid.
There's visuals for that that show people what they can't do, but also I know our hauler gave us some kind of dimension on cardboard.
That's because they have to lift it up with their hands. Once they go automated, it doesn't really matter. They just go.
No, it's gotta fit in,
What?
it's gotta fit in their hopper. Because I've put out larger pieces of, say, an entertainment center, right? It comes in a big box.
Yeah,
You open the box, you take out the stuff, you build it, and you put out the box. And you wake up and the next morning it's still there, because they said, it's too big, you gotta cut it up, so it.
That's what I'm
To fit into, it fits in there. That's, I'm saying. When I put boxes in there now, I don't have to break them up as small as I would have to. If I had.
Yeah, a regular size,
Yeah, it's-
number 18 box or something, you can break up, fold and.
Yeah, so I'm
Right.
saying it's less work, it's much, it makes you wanna. The other theory is, and these are just things that I've read and of my research, is that the bigger the recycling bin is, the more you're gonna recycle.
Okay.
Because you feel like,
Mhm.
wow,
Fill it up.
I should feel, why am I not doing my job? You know,
Yes, I
that's-
mean, we're gonna have to really lay on the public education, but I think
I
our
would.
planet is slowly but surely turning into a real life Wall-E.
Mhm.
I mean, has everybody seen that movie? We are turning into that movie. And we have to do something.
What-
So my concern is if we get the 64 gallon and people, I mean, the people who live around the street from me, nobody enforces the barrel rule. They have 3 barrels
can't.
overflowing. They they don't recycle.
What's inspected is respected. If there's nobody to inspect it, there's nobody, it's not gonna be respected. That's that is a fact.
Yes,
What's
What do we do?
inspected, you want it inspected, you gotta hire an inspector.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. If
You gotta hire an
there's
enforcer.
if there's nobody to enforce it, it's never gonna be enforced.
Right.
But some cities do that. They go around and they take a picture and send you, why is there a couch on your front porch? And then they send you a ticket, right?
Yeah,
What they do,
absolutely.
Sam?
Well, so if we open up the contract though. And
You can't rely on the trash hauler to enforce it for you. You can't.
No, that's what I've been
so
saying.
I thought the whole
Yes.
thing was they wouldn't pick it up if it was.
They
Wasn't
may,
in
or
the
they
back.
may, or they may not. I mean, they're getting paid by the ton. They don't.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's oversized, they won't pick it up.
Yes, that was
It's
Bill's
no
point
incentive for a
last year.
profit, for-profit company to leave profit on the table and walk away.
Absolutely.
There's none.
Well, wait a
That's what
minute,
I've been arguing for years, that,
wait a minute.
If charges.
the two-barrel limit's always been unenforceable.
If they're gonna charge us with this new system for picking up the bags.
Hmm.
Then they darn well better not pick up something they're not supposed to pick up.
Correct.
That was my point about 45 minutes ago. It's not enforceable in our current state. What we're talking about is not enforceable because we do not have the resources to go from street to street during that selected, that
Period of time.
particular
You need.
area of
They're
town
not gonna
that there's
pick up a
trash.
trash barrel that isn't one of these.
Let me just,
Because
Maybe
they
not.
can't. They don't have,
No, they're not.
the automated thing won't work on it.
well,
Maybe they
So-
won't pick up the barrel, but if they're picking up something, I don't know, it's a bag, or they pick up the barrel and there's 3 overflow bags, they're picking them up.
Everything is weight.
They will pick up as much as they can, trust me. We went through this in Salem when they went automated with this very same hauler. You have to have somebody out there that's got the interest of the town at heart, not the interest of the hauler at heart.
Mhm.
well, the camera, we just get Bob
Right.
Taylor
Hold
to
on.
camera the trucks.
But
And how
Okay, that would-
long is that gonna take to get a camera?
Well, even if we got a camera, say we got a camera, right, for all
God,
intents and purposes. Who now is going to spend the day reviewing the tapes
Footage and.
of all those cameras going, that's good, that's good, that's good. Again, we're talking about resources that do not exist to enforce things that we want to have done that are currently unenforceable.
well, can I just say, I would not,
It's gonna be a cost of doing business at that point.
right, but no. I would say that much like when you audit a company or you audit the town, they don't go through every scrap of paper and every bill and every warrant. There's a process, there's a way of spot checking. If you start to find that the company is picking up green garbage bags instead of just the overflow bags, we should have something in the contract that addresses that, because
Yeah.
that is blatant. Well, that's ridiculous.
I get it, but
Wait,
now at that point, we're relying on our neighbors to call Rebecca.
no,
Well, who?
no, I'm
Just like
saying
you said.
you camera the trucks and you do a spot check. The Board of Health, whoever can do it, does the spot check.
Who's gonna do the spot check?
Somebody in the Board of Health, you're
Now, right now.
administrative assistant full-time, correct?
No,
You have an agent.
I have an agent that's there 17
thought-
hours a week. Do you know how
Right,
many
but-
septic systems there are in town that I have to deal with?
They're part-time employees.
Yeah.
All the part-time, okay, but again,
Then the-
how much time do you think a spot check takes?
I
I
don't
thought
know.
Taylor said that was one of their.
Oh, maybe
I
they do
am
it.
telling you,
You know what?
when we went to this in Salem, we had to hire an employee.
Okay.
Yes.
You have to understand, you don't, you have to put money out if you want to get this right.
Before we go too far down this road, let's check with Taylor, because I believe Jan might be right. Their organization may do it for us.
And
Okay.
would this be the point of the pay-as-you-throw bags? Like if we made people use the pay-as-you-throw bags as their trash bags?
Yep,
Right. I mean, it's gonna be a totally different color than the green garbage bag you get. at-
Exactly, right?
I would go to a brighter color mostly.
Right.
We have purple now. but
So if you
we-
use one trash bag a week, I mean, that self-enforces.
Yep, it's a
Yeah, if
big
it's not-
bag.
They won't.
If you're not just dumping all, whatever can fit into the trash barrel, but you're using the pay-as-you-throw bags as your trash bags.
Right,
No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't do that, because what you put in the barrel is in the barrel. If you have
This is my
overflow-
point.
Free on board.
we weren't
Yes.
going to the full page you throw by opening this.
We're worried about having people go to this system and the trauma it's gonna cause, and then we're gonna go to a full page of throw system.
No.
That's just gonna pile on on the trauma.
Yes.
We're going one step forwards.
Yeah, all right.
Automated,
Okay.
If I may,
yes.
I would recommend that we recommend to the select board to go automated
Yeah,
first that we look to automate
Mhm.
with a 35-gallon trash tote and a 96-gallon. And I would move that that's what the recommendation be from this committee.
Second,
Have you got a motion and a second? Do we want more? This is just on the size of the carts. Item 1 on the agenda.
I can understand where you guys are coming from, but I can't support that. I think too many young families are going to be financially impacted by the size of that tote. It is small. I really didn't think it would be that small, but it is rather tiny.
it is compared to the 96 gallon. This is
But-
same size as what I use right now.
How many people do you have in your home?
Two.
Two.
I don't
The
even.
average
put it out
family-
Every week. Why am I paying for those families
The
and
average
all their
family-
trash when I don't even put it back
Well,
out?
that-
every
That's
week?
fine, that's fine. That's my opinion I'm giving it. So, average family of 4, I don't think that's sufficient enough for their needs. And now, in order to get to that level, as Rebecca said, the costs at the grocery store, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, are more significant. The bag purchases are gonna have to go to $4 a bag in order just to break even.
What was the rental cost for the additional 35,
10.
$10?
No,
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 no.
no. The rental cost is more like in Boxford, it's like $50 for the year or more. It's
It ends up being $10 a month.
in I'm just talking about the Boxford contract. I know.
Oh,
that-
per year though.
Yeah.
That's
they
not
had
$10 a month.
Fee.
Rent to have another one.
Yeah, they did it like, I thought it was 50.
They're 110.
Was it 110?
Yeah,
Was it that much?
175, you get 2. So maybe 100, you get 1.
Something like that.
Pay another $100.
Right, we're giving them these cards, so they're not gonna.
Right, but we also had indicated that there would be an
Yes,
opportunity to get an additional.
yes, you can lease,
Right.
yes.
A lease, so
Right.
whatever that cost is,
If we don't get
I mean-
the 66,000 back, how are we actually gonna pay for these anyway?
That's the next.
that's
Because
what
of
the automation, we.
the automation will free up, like-
Savings in automation is not gonna be all,
Could be like 200,
Year.
200,000 in a year,
It's a
yeah.
one-time cost.
It's, yeah, they won't change the tonnage cost, but they should
Right.
change we're paying like 500 and some odd thousand now for pickup. I would expect it to go down to like 350 or something, yeah.
so what, I'm sorry.
350 at least. I mean, Boxford, yeah, Boxford went,
$150,000 for each
No, I thought
year.
there was a greater
it
savings
was
than
like,
that.
I'm being conservative. Boxford's got a bigger bang for the buck.
So they said that the collection from households would go down what it's proposed at for, as actually, that's not right, because this 606 is, oh yeah, so it would be fiscal year 26, so it would be from the $606,000
Yeah.
to $483,864 for a savings of $122,136.
120.
And so depending on that, you.
122,000 savings.
So you could put that towards whatever you go for, and then potentially with, what we did was we put a temporary placeholder in the capital plan for the purchase of the carts as a one-time expenditure. That you could put forward to move this forward. So then fiscal year 27, you would realize the $122,000 savings in your budget.
Okay,
But that's just one company and the company we're
that's to get
contracted.
us through this contract,
That's to get you to automated fiscal year 26.
right?
And,
Because then we would have all this in place and we could negotiate with,
And you could do your IFB like we're doing with an RFP with all of your
right?
responses and get that out to bid. You just have to add in that, if we wanted to with this particular one, we would have to add an additional year to 2 years to the contract.
Yeah.
That's it. And we could ask for the additional items that we had talked about, liquidated damages and recycling audit.
The additional 2 years would expire when?
So we would it would be 3 years, so we would eat the year that we're already currently roped into the contract, so that would be fiscal year 26. So then it would be for fiscal year 27, fiscal year 28. And then you could go out to bid during that time so that you have your hauler ready to go for fiscal year 29. Or 28.
The thing is, without reducing the trash size, you know, there isn't much hope for us reducing the tonnage fee
If I could, I would just like
down the
to,
road. you
Without
know.
doing anything, I mean, with, and staying on the road we're on,
Mhm.
the town's gonna be broke when it comes to
Exactly.
trash, so we have to do something.
right, so in
Mhm.
Boxford, what they did is you could, in addition to the first free container at a cost of $52 per the container, then $122 annual usage fee.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, so $120 annual usage fee for an additional container. That's fair.
What,
That's unit pricing. It's like, why would you want to pay for the bundle of
I
channels
get it,
I have
but
now?
what's-
No, I get that. It's just, we're
It's-
just trying to,
what's the annual usage fee for though? I mean,
For an additional cart,
because you're putting.
It's
more-
just for the
because you're
car.
putting that much
Correct.
more
Right.
trash
just for the
in
cart.
stream.
all right,
yes.
what if they only use the card every other week? So they're still
That's their
paying?
problem, yeah. You want
That's
these,
why the
you
overflow bag.
you can use the
Better.
overflow,
Yeah.
right?
Thing because
It's a better
What
deal.
size is the cart?
35.
Their carts,
Oh, they're up a box. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're up at 64, but.
So what communities have a cart size of 35?
It doesn't sound like anybody else.
Uh,
Hamilton,
64
Hamilton does.
An
they
additional
gave us the whole
64.
list in that presentation.
So I got 128. Now, okay, now I own a club.
Hamilton does.
More central, man.
There was a whole list that he gave us last week.
I mean,
I don't-
I was
in reality,
looking at it actually
I actually
online.
have
in the barrel I
You want me to
use,
put
the shape
the-
and size is a little different because I think it's a little bit taller and a little bit narrower. But it's really,
Chicopee.
volume size, it's no different than the barrel I
like-
use.
10 or 12.
Yeah.
So,
And actually.
and I have two of them. I only use one every
Blues
week.
community.
And
has
that, I mean,
35.
I only used one when it was all
Part
five
of
of
the
us.
Page.
Because of the amount of recycling I put out that blew all over the neighborhood. And that's why I want that.
No. Listen, those little totes, forget it. I gave up on those. I went out to Home Depot and got myself a tote like that for the recycle.
I refuse.
It's still Jerry.
It was just easier than that than running up the street after my recycle, you know what I mean? Because it
Down
keeps
the
it.
street after my neighbor's
I love the
recycling.
fact that this will keep things
They
dried up.
Send that as a, cause I don't know if I got it,
Get up.
What?
their slide presentation.
I had the slide presentation, but I don't see,
It's like towards the end, I
Yeah,
think.
it was in there, I know.
I have the Hamilton contract.
oh, 35. Attleboro, Brockton, Brookline, Chicopee, Dunstable, East Long Meadow, Hamilton, Holliston, Long Meadow, Malden, Milton, Norwell, Shannon, Swampscott, Wenham, and Rentham.
I think the key thing with this to going to the 35 is also having the compost. Because that's what they have Hamilton one.
It does.
I think it's a lot
take
easier for people to dispose of their trash and fit it into the 35 if there's a composting program also available. Because that's what eats up a lot of people's,
You'd have to buy, you have to do this, you have to go through the same process to buy carts and then
right,
get a contract.
they
And
have 3 carts.
so it's like it's definitely better, but you have the same process.
Big ask, big change.
I don't disagree, but
I remember,
something's gotta give.
Mhm.
listen,
I-
and Kathy can tell you, I remember vividly when we went from unlimited, God's green earth, just throw everything you want out.
People still act like that.
Barrels, they lost their minds.
This is my neighbor. They still act like it's unlimited, so we have to show them that it's not.
I
I
agree.
don't think I think we have to remember that no matter what we do, it's gonna be a change. It's gonna be difficult for people, and that's why I think it's really key that we maintain an attitude of, okay, what else can we do to help? What else can we do
So-
to make this easier for people? Because there's gonna be resistance and we just should expect that, but we need to be clear in that we're really trying to be forward thinking, help the town. Help our costs in the town. Also help the planet. All these things are good things.
And you gotta lock the dumpsters once you put that in place.
So, yes, they are locked, and Rebecca's under Rebecca, we've removed a lot of.
Don't keep
dumpsters
people
that were,
stuff next to them.
no, they were,
But they haven't found that in research, so they've been telling us every time they come that the research is not showing that people are dumping.
Well, then.
I
I'm
think
saying-
you'll see an initial bump in it probably a little bit, maybe, but
If you
you know,
look at-
the
if you look at
fact
it
is, I think you'll
volume,
see it.
Maybe
you look at it as a volume,
neighbors will be
a
like,
finite
"I got
volume."
A little bit of room in mine
Yeah,
to throw it in
maybe.
here, really.
so my concern is that we're trying to make a recommendation now that will hold this town in a good place for 5 years. right now, they can put out 32-gallon carts of trash, right?
Mhm.
So the only per unit pricing we're going to is the overflow bag. So the only way to make that work and to have people actually paying for the additional trash that they're throwing out is to go to the 35-gallon for 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, if everybody has at least 2 carts or something, then you can throw your hands up in the air and say, fine, no more cost to have 2 carts. But I really doubt that will happen. Because when we had to negotiate the new contract, it was a shock to me to find out that the contract this town was on allowed 4 barrels of trash. 4 barrels was in the contract. This is just a few years ago during the thing.
And
Barrels.
that was the two.
4 barrels. The guy said, nobody in the state is letting people put out 4 barrels of trash but the town of Groveland. There was not a single contract in the whole state that had 4 barrels.
I mean-
Methuen has unlimited. They had unlimited. You literally could empty out your house, couches, bulk items, all on the side of Methuen. So
Methuen.
Methuen just recently redid their entire
Okay.
contract and they did 2 96 gallons
Okay.
like that. So
So-
they have 2, one recycling, one trash.
Right,
Wow.
They were the trash capital of the world. They joke about it at the haulers meeting.
But it's not funny though.
And it was the same
97.
way. until
They went to
10 years
296.
ago.
96.
But the thing
Yeah.
that's
It's pretty
it's
intense.
no laughing matter, when you look at all of the additional charges for trash, the residual fee, the contamination fee, the processing, all these fees for trash and recycling are just gonna continue to go up. So until we start to charge people for the amount of trash that they're disposing of, so that if they have to dispose of more, then they simply have to pay more. And yes, you might say that penalizes families, but the water rate does the same thing. If you have a family of 5
Mhm.
and you're running your the old washing machine I had, and I ran around the house and flushed all the toilets and turned on the shower, ran the washing, I said, I can't stay under the minimum. I'm always in the overage. I'm always paying the surcharge, but that's what I owed. Okay, for using that much water.
When it comes to trash and recycling,
Yes.
this really isn't 1985, 1995. People are much more educated about trash
Yeah.
and
Yep.
recycling.
Yes,
So they get it, they understand. You don't look around except for your neighbor, you know, in the few exceptions to the rule. Most people are putting out a trash barrel, a recycling
You're
bin,
right. I
you
agree.
know, except
Majority.
for the ones that are using the 18-gallon buckets. May have 4 or 5 of them because that's what they need to recycle. If you give them a 96-gallon, they're probably gonna be happy as hell, I'm telling you,
Right.
No, I think the nobody's gonna
complain about the recycling.
complain.
But most people are only using 1 barrel now. It may be a little bit bigger than that. I don't think because people are smarter. The younger families are way better at this
Yes.
than this generation
Yes.
is, in
yes.
all honesty. I think they'll get it. And if they need another barrel, they have the option to rent one.
I think that's reasonable.
I think it's very.
And I
I
think,
mean, because we could debate this until the cows come home.
yes,
Yeah.
Nobody is ever gonna be satisfied.
and the
Nobody's
graphic,
gonna be happy with it.
I think,
Everybody's gonna be happy with anything we.
I think the graphic that shows the dwindling, whichever slide she had that showed the dwindling landfill space. And we only have 6 incinerators in the state. I mean, I think that should be at the front of our education. This is how much landfill space we have left.
But to Jen's point, to offer to them, I mean, let's say we open up, we get the car, we go these 2 cards, right? Let's say we go that way. Make the recommendation, to select board, open the contract, see what you can get reduced. Any reduction is better than what we have now. That's the way I look at it, right? So even if it doesn't pay for all the cards, it at least pays for part of them, right? And we've at least, now we're positioned for our next contract, right? Because we've got the cards. And now if you want to start to offer additional services, can we negotiate, with Black Earth and with recycling and other people to say, well, how can we offer it to homeowners at a lower cost or at no cost? How can we try to do this?
Or even the some
But-
kind of a bulky item sticker type of idea.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have
But a
to,
couple times a year,
definitely gonna have to run that.
big-
something bulky.
I don't know, there's all kinds of things that other
Right.
towns are doing. I know
Right.
Hamilton's doing that too.
And we also talked about expanding the recycling list because we felt ours was kind of shrinking on us, right?
yes, like
Okay.
the cartons, the wax cart or plastic coated cartons.
Yes, and just to be clear, if we open the contract, kind of the only thing that's up and gonna be there is the damages maybe and the pickup, right?
Well, there was a couple of things that we had talked about that were not really cost-related items to the overall contract bottom
Okay.
line, which would be the liquidated damages and trying to do a recycling audit to try and get that to be more comparable
Yes,
with what we
I
had,
forgot
so
about
that, like the glass being as expensive as it's listed in our table might come down, which would be a huge savings for us, so
Yeah.
something of that nature. So there are other ways that we were trying to say that we could negotiate some additional measures that again, don't necessarily impact their bottom line, if you will. Because obviously anything of that nature, they're not gonna wanna open up the contract and negotiate.
Does town council sit on these negotiations? Or-
Town council did the last time. They were the ones we learned that actually drafted the contract. Waste management did
Yeah,
not draft
totally.
the contract. It was KP Law, which is
Yeah.
quite surprising when you look at the contract.
Yeah.
Right, and he told us, oh, you could put in a damages thing, but they'll probably just take it out.
Hmm.
And then you look at every contract I've looked at,
No,
has damages in it. I don't know.
Salmon and Costa,
KP Law is usually very, very good.
yes.
This particular person, I forget the name, but they were difficult to reach. They weren't quick on the turnaround. And again, we put in a clause, some kind of a damages clause. Maybe we didn't put it in correctly. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know how it was supposed to be phrased, but everybody wanted some kind of a, if you don't do pickups, this would cost you. And it got, Waste Management just took it right out. And the attorney said, oh, they're just gonna take it out.
One other question I had was if, for the overflow bags, right now, are they all the same size?
Yes,
They're big,
Do
actually.
you know how many gallons they?
I should have brought in, I used
pretty
to,
sure it's a 32-gallon.
it's at least 32 pounds. It's good
Oh,
size.
it is, okay,
It's a
okay.
big bag.
So
Probably
we
have
don't
one in
think
the
that
car.
needs to be adjusted then.
Hmm.
If it's 32 gallons, we'd hold as much as that cart pretty much.
Exactly.
Okay, so we don't think that needs to be adjusted then.
Well,
Okay.
My only concern with
They
that,
wouldn't need an extra card.
that
What's
the
that?
bags are,
Need an extra card
yeah,
No, the reason for the cart though, of course, is,
to keep everything in the cart, right? But what I'm
Right,
saying
and
is.
keeping
people
other
wouldn't
things
need to
out of the
Rent an
cart.
additional car.
no, I know, if you
Yeah.
can just, you wouldn't put all your food, you wouldn't put scraps and bones.
No.
in it.
well, yeah, because it's a thin, I was gonna say the overflow bag is kind of thin.
Right.
Yeah.
All right,
It's not as sturdy as like the hefty bags. It's not like that.
so we will have to look into that.
I've never seen one.
Me,
I have a
Wonder what they
roll.
look-
Oh,
I have
my
one.
next meeting.
I have some at home.
Okay, yeah, bring one. I don't know what they look like.
So
They're purple.
mind if it's something that's just gonna,
Yeah,
do you find it sturdy enough?
no.
Not for heavy stuff. No, no, no. You wouldn't want to put,
You know what it's great for?
as you just said,
Christmas wrapping paper. That's the only thing I've ever
writing
found.
paper.
Here,
Huh?
use that again next.
not with
year.
kids, you can't.
After my 5-year-old tears,
We used to have to do.
what I gotta go in there with tape and.
Use it up. Next year when I was a kid. I'm serious.
Oh, no, we tore. We're a tearing family.
Even my mother and father, they were
Christmas.
depression era.
They were.
The-
Are you
So
kidding
we
me?
had a motion and a second on the cart size, I believe. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Yes,
Do you want to just get that vote done?
Straw poll? Just to see, are we all in agreement? I mean,
I mean,
I would rather
we gotta start somewhere.
do the 35, except for the fact that I know that it's gonna be tough for some people, but
Well,
if we're gonna reduce trash and tonnage fees, we kind of have to go.
And we're giving them more room on that. If you add the two together
So,
compared to what we're doing now, don't you have more gallons with the 96 and the 35 than we do? Oh, no, we have unlimited.
unlimited.
Never mind.
unlimited, but I
Yeah,
don't think anybody has a
Really
barrel
don't.
like that.
Because you know what, that. Forgot the little tote they give you.
yeah,
I mean, if that's all you're committed to filling up, it's
yeah,
never gonna fill up. The
yeah,
rest goes in the trash barrel.
yeah,
right, correct. Now
Because,
you have.
because I have.
Go the other
bigger
way.
Tote, I bought myself a bigger tote.
Okay,
I think I throw more in the tote. Because it's easier than, I can't shove any more in this
so
little.
people will put more in 96, which like things they might have stuffed in the trash. Now they're putting there because they have a covered container.
When they have a bigger
I
container.
love the
Right.
cover, I love the
Okay.
cover. The cardboard won't be like.
So-
Pounds.
Is there any
I don't put my recycling
chance that
out.
when we
Yeah.
renegotiate, they
I have a-
look at allowing other items in the recycling, or will that be taboo? You think?
You mean other items?
They have a list of things and other towns take, like,
Other towns take
More.
recycling items that
Yeah.
our recycler does not.
yes, correct.
There might be a reason why they wouldn't, so I
Okay.
couldn't guarantee you that they would.
Okay,
entertain it. We
okay,
could
no.
Bring it to their attention and see if that would be something that they'd be amenable to, but I couldn't say, if there's a reason why it's not included now, I couldn't say that that would be something that. they would
Okay,
do.
because that gets to John's point. If we can say we're adding these numbers of recycling to the recycling plan.
That would be huge.
Because is it like milk, the milk jugs, right? There was something basic
Those
that,
plastic-
What it was, it was like, if you buy chicken stock,
Yeah.
yeah, those boxes you can't,
yeah.
but other towns
Other
do.
parts of the state, you can. In
Okay.
Western Mass, you can, but here, no.
Or
But I
it's
mean,
the same thing with the milk cartons,
anything-
and the juice cartons.
Any more that could be recycled would help everybody.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's probably what plant it goes to and what they take.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we can add anything,
But the plant, the
what
plant is
they'll
the plant,
accept.
might not, it might say this is what we take. You know, I think that's what they go.
maybe there's only a plant in Western Mass, I don't,
But
That's what it looks
must be like a
like.
regional thing.
But
it's something to look into because it would take,
Yeah, if we can't expand the number of items that are recyclable, then we're stuck where we are because that finite number.
Right, you're not gonna be able to reduce.
But this might make you think, oh, there is some paper in there that I usually put in the garbage. Why don't I just take it out? Put it in there. Like you might, this is gonna make you think,
right,
oh, I can't throw that. Because I mean, yeah, you know what? If I had 296s, space would never be I would never even think twice about space. Everything goes in there. But if I start, if it's already Wednesday,
Majority, yeah.
I don't have enough space, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's throw that in there. So I think it might change people's behaviors that way.
Yeah, it might. I'm just worried about does it contaminate more of our recycling?
Well, you don't have to worry about that until they do a contamination audit, because they
Right.
and they don't even do that
they
unless,
don't.
so that's a whole different conversation. I don't know if we have time to talk about
Not
how
today.
that works.
Well,
They don't check every load that comes in.
and we can
Maybe
check.
not even not over 5 years, it might not check. The percentages that they assume are in there are what they.
They calculate into the contract.
That's what
It's,
they
they
charge
don't,
us,
they
yeah.
don't check it.
No, they don't.
I always thought that, even like just a regular person, that everything that goes in the factory now, they look at it and they know what's coming out, and then they don't have time for that. So,
thing is, we're not gonna buy new cars again, a
well,
long time, so it's like, if our
5 years.
future is that we have to reduce tonnage. It makes sense to get the smaller,
Get this one, and then, you can.
be
use an
vigilant on
additional
helping people to cope. with
Cart
it.
if you really feel you need it.
It's good.
That's what the purpose of the MAC
I mean,
person
if
is,
we
right?
wanted to be somewhat flexible, we could offer 6-month lease ends for people that maybe kids come home in the summer and then go back to college, whatever. We could be a little flexible, I suppose. It's a little more
What are you saying?
lease a cart 6 months of the year if you feel like you have a busier winter or summer, you know what I mean? We could look at that. It wouldn't be impossible.
No, you're all on the same page, but we just have to be mindful of the administrative burden of managing that. Who's giving out the carts, who's getting the carts, how are they managing that? Is it the Board of Health? Is it the town administrator's office? Is it the select board's office? Who's managing that on a day-to-day basis? Who's gonna say that, oh, this person needs an extra cart? Who's gonna manage that? How's that all gonna go through? How-
Once they have the extra card, until they turn it in, they get that bill every year. It's an annual, you can't,
Just do annual, okay.
it's just,
That's fine.
I think-
That's
it's
fine.
just too much work.
Okay, that's fine.
And if you don't really need an extra cart, if you buy an overflow bag,
Right,
you
Right.
really don't need it.
And I'll also say though that, this automating and getting Taylor more involved should take the burden off, because the amount of work that Lori was doing from the beginning of this contract to when she retired was a lot, a lot. Taking phone calls, writing down all these things, trying to call Waste Management, find out if they did anything. It just was nonstop, and that's going to get automated along with all this, so that we don't have to do that anymore. I think, Taylor's presentation, she gave us a lot of good ideas. We should go back to that as we move
Okay.
forward and revisit
Yeah,
it.
because that was a long time ago.
It was. So can I call for a vote on the cart size? We might as well just go for it. All in favor of 96 and 35?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. 4 in favor, opposed, 1, okay. So this is a recommendation, we can't decide this.
Right.
Okay. Next, this is an easier recommendation. Do we recommend to the select board to open up, waste managers indicated they would be amenable to open up the contract if we were to go to automated?
So it would just be one extra year on top of our contract is what you're saying?
It's all negotiable. It'd
It's
be one or,
negotiable, but I would say that you're not gonna get anything less than at least 3.
so it may
So
not
we have
happen.
to stay with them for 3 years if we.
You have to
open
stay with them technically for an additional 2. Cause we would,
So
we're already.
After the contract expires.
2028.
But that's not our decision.
Right, so we wouldn't realize the.
That's gonna fall on these two.
2029,
No.
Ultimately, the
Next fiscal
negotiation.
year, could you use the savings from the first fiscal year to purchase the cards?
We take, you wanna.
Unless you wanted to try and take it from stabilization and then
Mhm, yeah.
replenish it. But with the pay as you, it would get a little messy, so I would say that it would just be a realized savings in the next
I know,
fiscal
I
year.
know it's coming down the road. You don't want to take anything out of stabilization right now.
So,
That's
Okay,
a big
so-
tree.
okay,
So the
But-
first year would be.
to preserve the negotiation strategy,
Which train is that?
and not, to preserve the negotiation strategies and leave it to the negotiations, which would be done off camera.
Right,
With our
thank
professionals.
you.
Yes, all I need from this committee is, do you recommend to the select board to allow the contract to be opened up and negotiated? It doesn't mean that anything's gonna change, but it means that the town administrator and our program and projects manager would be given the authority.
In order to move to automated pickup. Is that what you
So-
said?
And
Okay.
other things, yes, yes, yes.
I mean, I don't think there's. It would, if it's gonna save the town. Over $100,000.
Yeah,
So moved. Second,
second,
there you go.
Okay, okay, can I call for a vote?
Any
That the recommendation is to just recommend to the select board to go forward and allow a town administrator, and a program project manager to negotiate on the current contract to automated pickup, see what it can get us.
There you go. We got a motion and a second
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
for that.
Okay, and that's kind of it for this meeting. I mean, we can go around in circles and circles and circles, but I think
Get dizzy.
see what the select board now decides. Okay,
When would that be?
I hope we get on our next agenda.
It'd be the 26th,
wait,
Yeah.
what's the next agenda?
November 26th
Now,
for this.
For the select board.
Oh,
is everybody on the committee comfortable if I sit on the select board and vote on these decisions?
The select
Okay.
board chair, right?
Yes, but I mean, I didn't want to.
They're comfortable with anybody else.
Here to feel like I'm doing, you know what I mean? I want to, but I don't want you to feel that I'm conflicted, because you didn't unanimously.
We'll all be watching on Zoom, so if you do anything we don't like, you'll
You
hear.
know where you live.
oh, I'll be there
That's-
supporting you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steph.
You're welcome.
Put Harris signs on your lawn so everybody knows where to go.
Okay, and we can make a motion to adjourn if you wish.
So moved.
So moved.
Ed,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Seven-
Wait, who moved it?
I did.
And then we're good.
Dan seconded?
Yes.